Garrett Everett here from Garrett Everett Blackwater. I thought that today we could take a look at one of my tanks. This is back here is my 20-gallon Blackwater Pool Biotope. It's Asian themed. There used to be a betta in it, now it's just coolies. So we're going to take a look at that. I'm going to talk about things I like about it, things I don't, and then maybe do a quick little rescape and see if we can fix some of those problems I've been worried about for the past few weeks. So this is the 20-gallon Asian Blackwater Pool Biotope. You can see it's pretty dark in there. Part of that is my lighting rig that I have for here. It's quite bright. There's a daylight bulb in there. And that also leads to a lot of glare. So if we change to a different thing, hey, how's it going? So photographing this thing is really difficult. I did try and help it out a little bit by painting the shades on my lights, but really there's not a lot you can do. It's bright light on white walls or dark light gray walls, and you just get a lot of reflection. So we'll zoom in though, because then you don't have to worry about that. So I've modeled this. These are pieces of bark that I found just in my yard on a piece of deadfall. I've got some cryptocoryns in here, so that's Cryptocoryn walkeri. I believe there is some Wente, although that might be under this thing, so we're going to try and pull that up and give those guys some light. I have heavily planted this with Nymphea rubra. I think one of the plants I killed trimming it down. You can see that the leaves too, they're covered in mulm. So that happens during my very infrequent water changes. A lot of dust goes up and the filtration isn't very strong in here, so you get a lot of that stuff just kind of sitting on everything. It looks great. Look at this. See, that's fantastic on the log, but when it's on the leaves and the plants need light, that's a bad time. Threw a bit of my hygrophila in here from this is from the 30-gallon. That one, it hasn't done very well. As you can see, it's very kind of straggly up here, and then the further down you go, nothing's happening. There's some huge root growth on it, because that's probably where it's getting most of the nutrients. There's not a lot of flow in here. As you can see, this intake gets clogged really easily, because I have duckweed in here. The duckweed is also not doing well. Everything in here is kind of not doing well lighting wise, because I had some problems with my lid, and the tank was in near total darkness for a long time. Heater back there, another log cave. Oh, here's a little buddy. Whoop, see you later. Okay, yeah, so there's coolies in here. There's 7 or 8 of them in here. I used to have a betta fish in here as well, just a betta splendens, but he has passed on of old age and natural causes, so now it's just coolies. I might leave it only coolies, although they don't really come out very much. Or I'd like to get a wild betta and try that out, maybe see if I can get a hold of some RO water and run this in an actual true Blackwater fashion. So yeah, like I explained in my first video, this is just tinted clear water, because it doesn't have acidic qualities of Blackwater, but I think we can call it Blackwater. Like, there's a really good tint. Look at that. That's fantastic. And that's through building it up. I only do a 25% water change on this thing once a month. Other than that, it's just topping it up, right? So I put my new lid on here. You can see there's been a bit of evaporation over the week, but that's a whole week, so that's maybe a gallon. I used to fill this thing up every 2 or 3 days. It would be getting this low, and if it gets too low, then the filter runs dry. So things I don't like: filter is clogging up, plants get a lot of crap on them, hygrophila is struggling, duckweed is a problem. So we're going to try and spruce things up, maybe rearrange the logs so they're a bit more dynamic. They used to kind of jut up at an angle and look really nice like fallen logs, but now they're just kind of... So yeah, so we're going to do a little rescaping in here, maybe throw in a rock or two and see what it looks like. Alright, so we just rescaped the 20-gallon Asian Blackwater Pool aquarium. Pretty murky in there, but I think I will be very pleased once everything clears. See you in a few hours. Alright, so we're back. Almost a day later. Things got really murky after I did the rescape, and so it just needed overnight to have the filter run and settle. I just knocked a bunch of debris off of the leaves, so it's a little bit cloudy in there, but that kind of gives you a nice little picture of how the flow is going in there. So some very major changes. We've got a giant piece of hardscape. I keep a bunch of rocks on my front lawn. Oh, there's a little coulee. Awesome. A couple of them having a coulee party. That's great. Okay, so yeah, so I added some large hardscape there. Dropped a couple of the bark caves, so we're down to just one. That's to encourage the coolies to get out a bit more and do some frolicking, which they're clearly doing. Wow, look at them go. That's fantastic. Okay, so they're going. There's a little bit more hardscape over here. Just a big old rock and some random pebbles scattered throughout just to kind of, you know, make it look like they're a chip off the old rock there. So this is a bark cave. This bark I've been using, oh, there's my hand, for, I would say, well over a year? No, it would be a year, because I set up my old 35 gallon with some of these pieces in there. And it's still holding its shape. It's definitely a lot flappier than it used to be, but that's alright. So here we've got, on top of the, let's see if the camera can focus in. Perfect. Or not, whatever. Okay, so that's a Malaysian trumpet snail. I've got several of these guys in here. I threw in maybe like 3 or 4, and they've multiplied. So you don't see them often because they like to live in the top inch of the substrate, but they're there eating organic stuff, pooping out stuff for the plants to eat, and generally just keeping the things clean around them here. Like I said before, I used to have Betta splendens in here. He passed away from old age or natural complications anyway, which was really sad because I'd had him for 2 to 3 years. He was the first fish that I started fish keeping with, and I rescued him out of a back alley, which might be a story for another time. But yeah, as you can see, the coolies are out. They haven't been this active in a long time, so maybe I kicked up some good tasty stuff. Planting in here, Cryptocorin walkeri, and I believe I unearthed some of the Wente brown in here somewhere. This video is really blurry. I'm sorry, guys. It's kind of bad lighting. But bad lighting is what you want in a blackwater pool. It's supposed to be growing, you know, in the jungle, under heavy undergrowth, not a lot of flow, very tinted. We looked at the tint before, we'll look at it again. There you go, fantastic. Looks like we might have a bit of a green water outbreak in here, but that's great. That feeds all the infusoria and the minor cephalopods. Not cephalopods. You know what I mean. Tiny animals that the coolies will find in the undergrowth. Also added some, well, didn't add some, rearranged my sticks here. Make them look a bit more dynamic with the new rock thing. There is a raft of Hygrophila siamensis. I grow this in my other tank. It grows like crazy in there. In here it's been struggling a bit, but it did, like a lot of them detached from the roots in search of light, I'm guessing. And so I was like, hey, if they want to float, they can float. So I threw in a couple of trimmings from the other tank in here too. And that just provides a little bit of cover on the ceiling of the tank that isn't provided by the Nymphea rubra. So this is the outstanding plant in this tank. It's beautiful, it's red, it's got some iron supplement that I threw in there, a bit of the Amico self-hardening red clay, and it's fantastic. This is definitely, I'm glad I chose this for a centerpiece for the tank. This plant grows very large and is generally only recommended in larger tanks as kind of a focal point, but what I tried in here, and it went really well, I did do a massive trim, and I think that killed off one of the plants, but this plant is, other than that, extremely hardy, and I had a forest going on here, so I think there were 3 plants. Now there's only 2. I've got a smaller guy back here, but hoping that they'll multiply again, because having just a forest of tangled vines and leaves coming up here was really, really cool. Something that you don't see a lot. Using that tank as foreground and background and everything, and the fish and the coolies loved it. The betta would always go swim on the leaf. I did leave one piece of Hygrophila. I don't know. Nature has these weird oddball things happening, and this seemed to be doing all right. You can see it's kind of grown in a twist at the surface there. Might be trying to get immersed. But I kind of like it. It's a weird thing. Looks kind of cool. The root growth is cool. So yeah, There you go. That is the, well, I guess at this point, yeah, no, we'll just call it the Southeast Asian Blackwater Pool Biotope. Let's see if we can catch some coolies to finish it off here. You gotta move in on them. You gotta sneak up on them. These guys are fun. I keep the tank, it's around 80, 82, which is like kind of smack dab in the middle of their tolerance range. They have a super low bioload, which is why I only do 25% water change once a month. I should maybe do like 5% once a week or something, just so it's a little bit less drastic, but I haven't had any issues with them yet. They're lots of fun. They'll fly around, they'll swim up and down the sides of the glass and bump into each other, and just generally, they love to party. They love to party together too, which is fun. So, alright. Substrate here, I did go for heavy leaf litter. A lot of that is decomposed already. Mostly powder, which is why you'll see already I shook off the leaves and they're already getting dust on them again. So I was kind of hoping the coolies would dance around in here more and kind of get it off, but they seem to also stir up clouds of dust whenever they're swimming around, so I just get in there with the tweezers and just knock it off. Cool. Well, I wish the video was a little bit less blurry. Wish that my reflection didn't keep showing up, but hope you like that look at this tank. This is one of my, I've got 3 tanks, I guess 4 tanks going on now, but I think this one's my favorite because I don't get to see it often either. It's in our reading room, and it just functions quietly and darkly and does its thing, and it's beautiful all the time. All right, thanks for watching.